Hey, Tubies! It's Psychic Bob. I got on my witch hat. I'm styling. Tonight is Sunday, and it's that magical hour. It's the witching hour. That's right. I'm here today. I've got Lord Tony with me and Lady Carol, and I want each of them to say hello.
Hello, everybody.
All right. Well, Lady Angela won't be with us tonight. Unfortunately, her work schedule changed, but she sends her love and greetings to all of you, and she'll be back with us next week. But you got three of us here, and you know if you watch that TV show Charm, the power of three is always good. So we got some power going here tonight. Anyways, I am just so thankful you're here. And I tell you, I don't know about where you are, but we were all just talking. We're all in a bit of a heat wave where we live. I guess that's to be expected in North America. It is August after all, but I tell you, I'm looking forward to September and October coming. I tell you, I'm already there in my mind. I was looking at my wheel of the year today, and I thought, oh, Lord, get me to Maybon. Get me to Maybon. So I got my fingers crossed that we'll get to Maybon without having a heat stroke. Anyways, I got to give a big shout out here to all of our people in our chat. Hold on just a second, guys. Let me see if I can get you up here on the screen. And Lord Tony, why don't you tell us what you've been doing?
I haven't been doing a lot, but I've been doing stuff. I didn't do much yesterday. Today, I've decided I needed to harvest some of my hot peppers, and they're all nice and red and looking really angry and want to be eaten, and then they want to pay you back for eating them to begin with.
I think that's awesome. You got your hot peppers going there. That's wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
All right, hold on a second. What is that sound that I'm hearing? That you?
Don't know. It's not me.
I have no idea what that is.
Do you hear? It sounds like an engraver.
Yeah.
Weird.
Not on my end. I don't know what that is. Do you hear it, Tony?
Yeah, I hear it, and I know my tablet's updating, but the volume's turned off on that, so I shouldn't be hearing anything.
No, that sounds like a mechanical device, like an engraver. Well, I want to give some shout outs. We got Mama Birds here. Hey, Jennifer Coxon. Crystal's here. Tina Stone's here. Creepshow's here. Monk on Horror's here. Lotus Night Rain's here. Yay, Joey Gothic's here. Gav Hines is here. You know, Gav's all the way here, all the way from England. So, hello, Gav. Good to see you. I'm glad you're up staying up late for us. And Book Disorders is here. L. Young is here. We got a lot of people. Thank you guys so much for being here. This is great that you're here with us tonight. And I'm certainly excited about all of you being here. So, tonight we're going to continue. A lot of you have been asking a lot of wonderful questions. A lot of you have questions about Wicca, Wiccan practices, magic. And so we're gonna continue with our our Q&A here, because you guys said how much you enjoy that. So feel free to type your questions over here in the chat, and we're gonna get that going with all y'all here. So hold on just a second. I gotta get my screens aligned so I can see everybody. Hi guys, I'm getting a lot of you writing hi, thank you, Bob. Yay. Yeah, thank you so much. Gav Hines says, I never miss the witching hour, Bob. I love all you guys. And I go, well, we all love you. And, we're all here just trying to be of service to the community. We have a group that we call the Order of the Purple Cord. Some of you who are new here may not have heard about it. But we're an eclectic Wiccan group. And if you want to join the Order of the Purple Cord, what you want to do is send an email to either me or to Lady Angela or our Facebook page. And all those links will be below this video after the video is done. And to be a member of the Order of the Purple Cord requires that you honor the Wiccan Read. We don't have any membership dues. And you're also asked to make a purple cord for yourself. Tonight I'm wearing my little purple cord. and you can make it out of any subject or any substance, excuse me, that you want. This one's made of beautiful yarn, and it's purple, different shades of purple and blue yarn. And you can have your cord in any different color that you want, but it should be predominantly purple. You could have gold woven in, or orange, or green, or whatever you like. And I thought maybe Lord Tony and Lady Carol, you could show your cords and explain what they're made of to people. Lord Tony, let's start with you.
Sure.
Well, my cord is I made it out of paracord. It just your standard 3-cord braid. That's pretty much all I ever did with it. But it's almost 3 feet long. It took 17 feet of cord to make it. I just stripped the ends, tied them in knots, and took a lighter to them to melt them together. So that's pretty much all I did.
Yeah, and you can make your cords. You can wear them as like a neck cord or like a stole, like ours, like mine. I just drape over my shoulder, just like Lord Tony. It just hangs, and you can wear it that way, or you can make a cincture, which is a fancy word for a belt, to wear it on your robes as well. Lady Carol, show us your cord.
Yeah, my cord is actually made from silk, like rope. And what I did with mine's a little fancier. I put totems on it, all different totems to represent the religion. And it's kind of heavy because there are some glass beads on here as well. But I just love it. I mean, I even incorporated this huge, I don't know if you can see it, this huge chunk.
Oh, that's beautiful. Is that an amethyst?
Yes, it's an amethyst slice, and it's in a gold trimmed casing, and I put it into the cord itself. And then I have, little symbols, goddess symbol, fairies, just, different little things that mean something to me. I have a book for my book of shadows. Just little, beady bobs, almost like prayer beads. But yeah, it's kind of heavy, but that's by choice.
Sure.
So,
well, see, it's wonderful because you can make your cord as simple as you want or as elaborate as you want. Carol, I think this is an excellent example of a beautifully charmed up cord.
Yeah. When I made my cord, I actually did a ritual for it. And, it's just something simple that I came up with, just a simple blessing. And of course, purification and all of that. And I keep it with the sacred staff. So they're kind of like joining them together.
I think that's wonderful. Speaking of rituals for the cords and all, I'm working on, and each of us are doing little segments as we get it compiled. Hopefully by the autumn time, we will have an official Order the Purple Cord manual. It'll be a free manual you'll be able to download, and it'll give kind of daily rituals, prayers. We'll have things in like the consecration of the cord ritual. Lord Tony's writing some protection rituals. I'm working as keeper of the sacred chalice. I'm going to have a ritual in there about how to work with doing libations with the chalice. And each of us are guardians of the tools. And so I'm guardian of the sacred chalice. Lord Tony is guardian of the sacred sword. Carol is guardian of the sacred staff. And Lady Angela is guardian of the sacred book and keeper of the flame. So we have a number of different things, and we're going to have in our book rituals that you guys can do. Now, none of this will be mandatory. It's not like you have to do rituals, but it's for those of you who say, I want a little daily structure or ritual I can do as part of the order. We're going to give that to you. So definitely stick with us. We will have that soon for you, okay? My goal is to have it out by May Bond. So at May Bond, we'll celebrate and have the new manual. So looks like we got a lot of people saying they really love your cord, Carol. And Mama Bird said this is a very spiritual channel. Yeah, well, you know, we try to keep it spiritual here. Lord Tony Gabb says hello to you. Said he hopes all is well with you and your family.
Hello, Gav.
And got to deliver that. Okay. William Hill is here as well. Hi, William. Thanks for being here. Okay. G-Dog just wrote and he says, I have been adding beads to my purple cord too. Now, I love that. Carol, I think maybe in the future we could have a show where you sit down and walk people through how to kind of work on their cord and enhance it. Would you be open to that in a future?
Yeah, I would love to.
I think that would be really great because, you know, it's funny. When I started the Order of the Purple Cord, I was visualizing just a simple cord, which most of mine are just very simple, but I like that idea of jazzing it up, you know? So I think we could all have a lesson on that. That'll be another
you
show.
can actually have more than one cord. You can have your, you know, formal. You can have your, you know, traditional, which would be the simplified one, or you could even do bracelets and wear them every day. So you're never without your cords.
I think that's a great idea. I got to give a shout out here. Hi, Steve Taylor's here. Don Chance is here. Witchy Jim is here. Hi, guys. Thank you for your greetings. Thanks for joining us tonight. You know, this is great. So, Terminator says, I'm new here. What is the witching hour? Well, good question, Terminator. Witching hour is a gathering of people who like to explore topics of Wicca. It's also kind of a gathering for the Order of the Purple Cord, but you don't have to be a Purple Cord member to join. But a lot of our member of our religious order, the Order of the Purple Cord, which is a Wiccan, eclectic Wiccan order, come and gather. So we welcome you here, and we open this up to have discussion. You know, magic. We talk about spells, anything you want to talk about. You know. Now we got a panel of officers here, and for those of you who just tuned in, Lord Tony is with us. He's our Lord Guardian, and Lady Carol is our Keeper of the Sacred Staff. And Lord Tony, maybe you could talk just real briefly a little about your role as a guardian for all the new people here.
All right. Basically, what I do here is I watch over like the goings on with the show like this too, but I also send out my vibes, energies, whatever you need to help keep everyone protected during our rituals. And other spirits I have known and friends with, they'll help out with it too, and dragons and whatever spirits I have around me, they'll help out, angels. But yeah, I like to make sure everything stays peaceful here. So I'm watching a couple on here that are going to get themselves blocked pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm seeing some trolls. You know, if you're here to make disruption, it's not going to get you anywhere. We're not giving you the time of day. We're here for those who are serious about spiritual growth and spiritual work. So you just can go ahead and leave now. We're going to block you anyways. Lord Tony, thank you for your guardianship and keeping an eye out. You know, speaking of rituals, a lot of you have been saying, are we going to do some group rituals? And we are. For Maybon, we've all, this summer, all of the officers, we've all been kind of distracted. So much stuff going on in our lives, between I being sick and then having a condo fire. Lord Tony's been tied up with his family. Lady Carol's been in the middle of a move. We've all been a little distracted, but we're looking for Maybon, which will be, what is the date of this? September 21st.
21st, yeah.
And we're going to do a ritual. It may not be that exactly, but it'll be the Sunday around that time, right before. I have to check the calendar here, but we're gonna do a Maybon ritual here. It's going to be a formal scripted ritual. We're working on the script now, and then we'll post that so you guys will be able to download a copy of that off of our Facebook or off of my website, and you'll be able to, you know, print out a copy and have that with you. And when we do the ritual live, you can participate. And don't worry, we try to keep our rituals really simple here. Something that you don't have to spend money for. We use very basic and minimal ritual tools in our rituals. So you might need maybe a wand or a cup of water or a candle. we really try to keep it simple. And we're going to try to give that to you early so that you have time to gather the stuff. So when we do the ritual, you know, we'll all be on the same page. So to answer the questions that people have been writing and asking, yes, we are going to do a ritual on Mabon. I'll give the exact date after I check the calendar here. But that is what we're going to do. So did you guys have questions for us? I know that it's kind of flying by. If I miss some questions, you may have to retype them, because without Lady Angela's the master of the chat. So I'm jumping in, filling in for her tonight on this. So G-Dog says, the more positive you are, the more negative they try to bring you down. Yeah, you know, G-Dog, we're used to this. There's always people who want to disrupt and be hateful. I don't see what the point of that is, you know. So we don't have time for that, do we, Lord Tony?
Nope, not really. I'll make time for him later, though.
Don't cross the Wicca. Just because we don't do black magic doesn't mean we don't have some mojo going on. Lady
I
Carol,
think they're just jealous and have nothing better to do with themselves.
I guess not. Well, you know, maybe they'll stay and listen and actually learn something. You never know. You know, sometimes people, I've had that before. People, I had one time I did a live show and a person came in just to disrupt me, hateful. And partway during the show, they said, oh my God, this is really cool. They changed their whole attitude. And they actually called me afterwards and apologized for their bad behavior and said they're willing to learn now. So we're going to just send up some energy to you guys that are making trouble, that you might have an awakening. Maybe you'll learn something too, you know. Just got a question here. Deep Show says, what's your favorite color, Bob? Gosh, that's a tough one, because I have a lot of colors. I think probably my favorite is purple. I just love purple. I'm crazy about purple and any shade, tint, or color. And I think probably second to that is I love green. I love the color green. So those are probably my favorite. But I think purple's number one. It's a good color, you know. By the way, do you guys know the history of the color purple? Some of you may not know this, but purple's an interesting color. It's not the most, in the old days, let me put it this way, it was not an environmentally friendly color. That was back in the Roman times. Purple was a very rare color because the only way they could make purple dye, was by killing snails. There were these snails that lived at the seashore, and they were called murex snails. And when they would crush them, the inside of their shell contained a purplish paste. And it would take, I think, something like 8,000 snails to make a half an ounce of purple dye. So purple dye was so rare and so valuable. Only the wealthiest of the wealthiest could afford it. In fact, Lady Angela and I were doing a comparison numerically. And purple dye back in the day was more valuable than gold. So like today we think of an ounce of gold, it's like $1,200 an ounce. Well, the equivalent back in the day of purple dye, an ounce of purple dye would have been the equivalent of about $20,000. So you can imagine the value. And in the old days, purple was regulated. During the ancient Roman times, only the royalty could wear purple. And in fact, if you were caught wearing purple, you'd be fined and arrested for impersonation of the royal family. And what was interesting is a lot of the high-ranking nobles and royals were allowed to wear purple, because some of the nobility were also granted the privilege of wearing purple. It was like an honor by the state. If you were a high-ranking member and did some great service, you'd be granted the right to wear purple. So it was very prestigious. But in those days, you know, as people were traveling around on horseback and stuff, sometimes they would rip a piece of their cloak, or it would get old and worn. And if you were out walking and you found a little scrap of purple cloth, that was considered a magical charm, because purple was so valuable and rare that they viewed it as magical. And so people would literally treasure little pieces of purple cloth and keep them. They became like magical charms. And so when we started the Order of the Purple Cord, I chose purple because it's traditionally been a magical color. Now, since the Victorian times, purple is not expensive. They've been able to replicate it synthetically. But originally, purple was so rare and valuable. And I feel like it represents, the magical power, because the Wiccans, the witches of old, in that time knew the power of the color purple, and it was a high vibrational color. And so we wear our purple cords to draw off that history, that energy of the power of purple. And each of the members of our order, in my opinion, are very high elevated people. And so we want to give you the honor of clothing you with purple as well. And so that's how the Order of the Purple Cord started, the concept of using the purple cord. And the cord is a traditional witch tool, and it's braided, and it represents our unity. Each of us are like woven together under the order's power and light and energy. So the cord represents all the members as well. So anyways, there's a little lesson on purple and the purple cord. Don Chanchis wrote, Wiccans like to make their own wands, but you can buy them too. That's true. If you're not an artistic Wiccan, you can buy stuff. In fact, Lady Angela and Lady Carol makes some beautiful wands. Lady Carol, why don't you tell us about your wands?
Yeah, I actually make custom wands. I use polymer clay and a little bit of woodwork. But Lady Angela has one of my wands. I sent her several, and she decided to keep them all. They were supposed to be merchandise, but she fell in love with them. So once I get organized again, I'm going to be making some more. Hopefully I can figure out how to get a website up and start an Etsy shop. So, it's just going to take me a little bit of time to figure out where all my supplies and everything are.
Well, yeah, Lady Carol's been in the process of a move, so she's literally still unboxing and trying to find out how it went. And hopefully it all got to the house in the move, right?
Yeah, I actually had to clear out my apartment and a storage unit, so I've got a lot of stuff to go through.
I think I just missed a question here. Mama Bird said, Kathy Private, that's a good question for Laura. Kathy, I didn't see your question fly by, so maybe you can retype it for us, okay? Shadowlander's here and says, Yo, Bob, I'm starting a huge art project. It's going to take me a long time to get it finished. Making some paper skulls for the rock band Ghost. That sounds wonderful. I'm all about art projects. In fact, some of you may not have seen, but yesterday or day before, I did a video and I showed my latest painting. I'm going to go ahead and show it to you guys tonight, since we're talking about art. I've been working on channeling, and I tried to channel the artist Jackson Pollock. So many of you know he was a big artist in the 50s with abstract expressionism. And here is my newest artwork that I've created. This is a painting I did where I channeled Jackson Pollock. I don't know if you guys can see that. But I call this Black on White #1. And it's an abstract expressionist art. So, I think art is wonderful. I encourage people, if you want to improve your spirituality and your gift of channeling, explore art, because all great artists are channels. And Lord, tell me, you know all about art too, don't you? You like to create a magical things.
Yeah, for me, that I'm not sure what's going on with that. I have to say, when I make something that's usually channeled, I always get when I make something like your wand that I made you. That was one of those things where I felt like I needed to make it, and I had never made anything like that in my life. So,
wow. Well, that was amazing.
It's almost always when I make something special like that, it's not usually coming straight from me. It's something else helping me along.
See, so you understand what I'm saying, that art is an expression of channeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I go through that every time I create a new wand, because every wand is unique and they're one of a kind. I don't actually you know, just sit down and draw them out. It's just whatever the clay tells me to do, that's what I do. I allow myself to meditate prior to making any wand, so that if spirit wants to direct me in how to create this certain wand, or, you know, whatever I'm doing, art piece, painting, I allow them to work through me, not the other way around. A lot of people don't understand that art itself is emotion as well as spiritual. Um, they work hand in hand when you're in the middle of creating something. You know, you can sit down with a blank canvas and a bunch of paint and say, well, I have no inspiration. Well, you're not going to unless you open the door.
Absolutely. I got to jump in here. We got a question. Kathy Private wrote, and she says, Bob, will a freezer spell to shut up people who are gossiping about my business on social media help? Yes, Kathy, you know, I'm a big believer in the freezer spell. And for those of you who don't know what that is, freezer spell is what we call putting people on ice. And I don't know if you guys have done this, but I've done this. Lady Angela is a big believer in this as well. What you do is, if you know there are people who are harassing and gossiping about you, you put their name on a piece of paper and you ask that the spirit intervene to silence their evil and slow them down. And then you put that paper down inside a cup of water or an ice cube tray and fill it with water and put it in the freezer. And what it does is, as that freezes over, that will neutralize their ability to act against you. Very simple spell, but you know, as I always say, don't discredit simple magic, because sometimes the simplest magic is the best magic. Have you guys done the freezer spell? Do you know about this?
Yeah, I have. I've done a couple, actually.
Yeah, I have one going right now. Actually, I took it a step further though, and when I wrote everything out, I read it out loud 3 times, folded the paper up, turned it clockwise, folded it again, turned it clockwise, folded it one more time, and then bound it along the main edge with Gorilla Tape to make sure it stays bound, and then put it in a bottle of purified spring water, put the cap on it, threw it in the freezer, and that's where it's been sitting for the last few months.
I think so too. Well, Kathy said, Bob, it's more than one person. Kathy, you can do this for as many people as you want, but I encourage you to have a separate container for each person. And Lord Tony, I like your methodology as well. I think that you can work with this. And it's like with magic, you got to get the feel for it. Wouldn't you say, Lord Tony? It's like when you're doing it, you just know, like, I need to do this extra.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I had to put a lot of my own energy into it, make it worth the effort.
Absolutely. Whenever we do magic, we have to have our own high-powered focus and commitment, because we contribute. If there's a real need and you have a real desire to create this power, it will manifest, you know. And, you know, the thing is, when you do magic, you also got to be careful that, you know, that you also focus that, because unfocused power, one, can either weaken a spell or create havoc in the rest of your life. You know, I can tell you one time I got really angry and I had not grounded my energy down. And I ended up going on a public bus and I was in a foul mood. And I glared at the bus driver because he said something rude to me. And literally, his dashboard exploded in fire, sparks and fire, and the whole bus caught on fire. Now, nobody realized how that happened. I knew that I had projected energy and did that. And that's kind of scary because I can do that sometimes. And so, but the good thing is, if you can take that level of energy and harness into your spell, you can do some awesome work as well. So grounding and focusing is very important. Even with something as simple as a freezer spell, it makes all the difference.
I'm actually living proof of that, because where I'm sitting right now, I literally created a special place on the altar, wrote down, you know, my dream home, actually got floor plans of the house, and just, prayed over it. And when I cast the spell, I just focused into it 120%. And, from October of last year until, what was it, May of this year, we're already in it. So when you put your intent into any type of magic spell, don't take it as a passive thing. Give your all for it, and it will work for you. I've had people say, well, the spell didn't work. How much intention did you put into the spell? If you only put 5% of yourself into that spell, you're only getting 5% back. So if you're going 110, 120, or, even 50%, you have a better chance of having that spell work. I watched this house get built from the ground up. I literally put magic throughout this house from day one. So you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in, your ability. A lot of people don't. They have them, but they're afraid of them. That's the blessing of Wicca. You discover yourself as well as what you can do.
I think you're so right, Carol. That's one of the things that I say drew me to the craft, is that the craft is a faith that says you are not a passive victim of the universe. The Wicca teaches us that we have the ability to change our reality. We have the ability to take charge of our lives and actively work, to actively work to bring transformation, So I agree. Alicia Faye just wrote, she says, I like to hotfoot people and they harass me. It's always worked for me within 24 hours, but I always make sure it's warranted and not just me being moody. I think that's what. Carol, you know about the hotfoot spells?
Yes. The thing about hotfoot spells, though, you have to be very careful that when you're putting your intent into one, you're actually focused on that person only, because I've done a hotfoot spell that not only affected that person, but their family as well. So you have to be careful. If you just say like the person's name, you're going to get more than one person. So be careful with those. I also like to work with black salt. Now, black salt keeps a lot of negativity away. I don't know if people know about that or not.
Why don't you tell us about black salt? I think that's a good subject.
Basically, black salt is just that. It's salt that you make using ashes from incense. You can even use charcoal and create black salt. You take salt and you mix those ashes with it. You want to, focus positive energy into it when you make it, though. A lot of people just mix it together and say, okay, it's done. No, you have to put your intent. If you're going to block negative energy from coming through your front door and you want to use this at your front door, make sure you put that intent into it. If you have someone talking bad about you and you want to stop them, you can also use black salt as well as a hot foot spell or a freeze spell. You can combine things. Experiment with your magic. Don't just take one thing and say that's the way it is. It's not. It never has been. So look into that. Now, one thing about the black salt, if you're going to do the freeze spell, don't put them in the same bag. Anybody that knows chemistry knows salt is going to melt the ice. So you put them in separate bags. Put them in separate bags. Then put them in one big bag and freeze it. But don't put them together. Otherwise, you just killed your spell.
Carol, I have to laugh because that sounds like something I would actually do.
That's why I mentioned it. I did that the first time I ever made one, and they were like, "You just blew your spell." Oh, yeah, I forgot about the chemical part.
Carol, real briefly, would you be able to tell people about what a hot foot spell is? Some people are a little confused on what it is.
Basically, a hot foot spell, it can cause a person to get away from you. If you have somebody that's like your neighbor, and they're the kind of neighbor you don't want to be around, but they keep coming back and they won't go away, you would basically use a hot foot spell to make them leave you alone. That's basically what a hot foot spell does. It makes them leave you alone. It's kind of like a freeze spell, except with the hot foot spell, they literally like leave. They will not hang around you. A freeze spell only silences a person.
Yeah. I've made hot foot powder that I've sprinkled at places. I have my own kind of formula. Everybody has kind of different formula, but I use usually like black pepper and then red pepper and
Lord Tony, chilies will work great for one.
Yeah, chili pepper, red pepper, black pepper. I combine usually like 3 hot spices, and then I mix it up and grind it, and then I consecrate it. And I've used that before to kind of get people out of my way.
Yeah.
It's interesting, you know. But again, your intent has to be very strong. You have to be very focused. So, you know. Hold on a second. I just saw another question. G-Dog earlier wanted to give an acknowledgement. Carol, he said that because of you, he's been using more herbs in his spells and finding it very helpful. So, yeah, I think that's wonderful. Matt Burns has a good question here. He says, how often do you recharge crystals? Anybody want to talk? Tony, you like crystals. Why don't you talk about that?
You can recharge crystals pretty much anytime you want to. A lot of its intent, you can actually just surround your crystal with white light, using your hands doing that. Or you can just put them out in the full moon and let them charge at least 24 hours. You can charge them in black dirt. You can charge them in waters. You can clear them, charge them pretty much as you want.
I think that's wonderful. Lord Tone, do you find that some crystals are easier to recharge than others? I'm curious about your experience with that.
Yeah. Selenite's probably a difficult one to charge and cleanse with water. It has a tendency to dissolve. But like black tourmaline, that's easy. Most crystals can handle being put under running, cool running water and cleansed and charged that way if they're just letting them sit in that. And the full moon, I don't think there's anything easier than doing that, unless you have critters in your area like I do that like to walk off with shiny things. But if you got something that you can put in outside, that's great.
Or you may have a few fae that like to collect.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, I get the occasional missing crystal from my windows.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody earlier today about the fae, and they're new to working with the fae, and I said, now be prepared, because I said the fae loves shiny things. So if you got any special jewelry or crystals, I said the fae might swipe it. And as I always say, if the fae take something, don't begrudge them having it, because the blessing they'll give you for what they take will be far greater than anything they ever take from you,
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's wonderful. Tony, thank you for that. One of the things, speaking about crystals, is, and I'm sure Lord Tony and Lady Carol can back me up on this, is that, just because a book says you have to use a crystal for one thing or another, if you're not feeling it, honor yourself, because your interaction, your relation to the crystal is very important in sense of getting power and working with that crystal.
Yeah.
I think it's so important. I have a real draw lately to working with agate stones. I've been working with brown agate, which is a traditional witch protection stone, and also black agate. In fact, today I'll show you. I'm wearing a black agate crystal pendant. Let's see if I show you this. I wear this as a protection stone and also a psychic enhancement stone. So as you can see, it's black agate. I also have with it a little charm of a pentacle, which Lady Angela gave me this. And then I have a little goddess charm as well, a little spiral goddess. And I'm wearing these today to raise vibration, to attune to goddess energy and psychic power. Because black stones also help us go within and find our inner wisdom, as well as they're protective. So, and that stone speaks to me. So, you want to find stones that talk to you and work with them, Lotus Night Rain just says, I use Tibetan quartz a lot. Lotus Night Rain, I'm not that familiar with Tibetan quartz. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about that. Lord Tony, Lady Carol, do you guys know about Tibetan quartz?
I actually have a piece of Tibetan quartz. It's an interesting stone for me. It's new, so we're still kind of bonding right now. But the energies that I'm getting from it are, amazing. But like, we were saying before, you have to connect with your stone. And one way that I connect with my stones, even if I buy them online, I've had this happen several times. I have a way of holding the stone in my hand. And if the stone pulsates for me, then I know, okay, I keep this one. If it doesn't, then I know it belongs to someone else. So, I've had that happen a couple of times where, I've gotten a stone and it's like, oh, it doesn't work for me. Maybe it's for somebody else. And that usually happens a lot of times. Someone asked me a long time ago, well, how do you know? If you feel, well, for me anyway, everybody's different. But if you feel a heartbeat, you know how you can like feel your own heartbeat when you press your wrist right here and you feel your pulse? Well, some of the stones have that same type of pulse energy. So when I feel that, I know that stone is for me. Now, with the Tibetan crystal that I got, I actually got it before I moved, so it stayed packed away, and I'm just starting to get, familiar with it. The pulse is there, but it's very weak right now. So what I'm doing is I'm infusing my energy into it to kind of wake it up, because I know it's there and I know it's for me. I just have to kind of have it come out of its shyness, so to speak. Lord Tony probably understands what I mean by that. But it's kind of interesting. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. I had a nice piece of quartz, and I mean it was a good size. It was about maybe this big, And it was like, oh, it's a beautiful piece. I love it. It good size. We had no connection. None. So I ended up giving it to a friend, and they're like, wow, this thing vibrates like crazy. I'm like, well, I guess it was for you. So I've had that happen several times where I'll buy something with the intention of using it, and it's not for me, but it's for someone I know. So I just consider it as, gifting from the gods.
I think it's wonderful. I got a question here. Sherry DeTillo says, can we charge our crystals in sunlight? My answer, of course. You'll get a different energy.
There's some crystals you can't.
Well, that's true too. But most crystals, you can set the intent. Quartz can be charged either by sunlight or moonlight. Now, moonstone, I would not charge that by sunlight. That's an opposite vibration to it, that stone. That's my personal belief. So study the nature stone, but yes, sun can be used to charge many crystals.
I will say, if you're going to charge a crystal, do not put it directly in the sun, no matter what type it is, because crystals can accumulate a lot of heat disbursement. And if you have a crystal sitting out on your patio, which is on cement, and you put the crystal out there and the sun is 100 degrees like it is here, you might come back to shards. So you want to be careful with that.
Well, that is a good point. You're right, because it can shatter. That's true. But like, for example, if you put it in a windowsill just for an hour or so, it's probably going to be okay. You know.
Yeah.
Gavin Hines also made a comment here. He said that while he was on vacation, his son found a hagstone and gave it to him, and it made him very pleased. I think that's wonderful, Gavin. For those of you who don't know what a hagstone is a stone usually from the seashore that has a natural hole in it. And in the old days, these were considered, when people would find them, to be symbols, signs of the goddess. And so if you're at a seashore and you find a naturally holed stone, you should definitely take that, make a necklace out of it. It's protective and it's symbolic of the goddess. Do either of you guys, have you ever had a hagstone?
Not myself.
Yeah, I actually have several.
Oh, okay. Do you have any with you can show, Carol?
Not at the moment. They're in another room. But I have what I do with mine. I put them by my doors, to kind of protect my home. A lot of people wouldn't think of that, but if you're in a new place like we are, there's so many energies flowing around that I just want to keep all the negative out. So I put them down, behind my door and let them sit there. Of course, I cleanse and consecrate them and, ask them for the protection. So, yeah, I've had some gifted to me. I found some, just walking along, and there would be a stone going, "Hey, pick me up." So, yeah, I've been fortunate with that.
Wonderful. I got another question here. Dragging Rising 1, Lord 10, I'm going to ask you to handle this one. They said, how can I charge my rune stones? Now, that's an interesting question, because do rune stones even need charge, or are they naturally charged? So this is a good question. I'm not sure.
I think they're naturally charged with the symbols that are already on them, but if they are actually made of stone, I don't see a reason why you can't actually charge them back up with moon energy as well.
I'd agree. I think that's definitely a stone you want moon energy with, because when you read the runes, you're drawing from the psychic self, and that's lunar energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting because, Tony, I've read different things. I'm sure you know about this too. It's like you were saying, runes by themselves, because of the carving of the runes, there's power infused in the actual runes. And so that's an interesting question. Do rune stones even need to be charged, or are they recharged by the rune? Really fascinating. I think there's argument for both sides of it, but
right.
You've done a lot of work with runes and bind runes, haven't you, Lord Tony?
Not as much as I should, but yeah, I've made my own runes, made them out of clay, but haven't really done a whole lot of work with them. Mm-hmm. Usually I'll dip my hand in the bag and pick out a rune, and I'll be like, "Oh, that's the one I need to have with me today," and I'll carry it around with me all day long and see what happens.
That's what I've done that as well. I think it's a wonderful thing, I know at times in my life when I've been challenged by direction, which way to go, I use the runes, because I don't know if you guys have this experience, but it's been my experience. The runes are pretty direct. It's like, this is what it is. And they always seem to be right. I've never had a rune reading that's been inaccurate in my life. I'm a big believer in rune power. So,
I have a question
Uh-oh.
pertaining to runes.
Uh-oh.
Because I don't know if anybody's thought of this, but it just hit me in the top of the head, so I'm going to share. Can you use runes when working with spirits? And if so, how?
I'm going to say by asking them to pick the right one for you.
I think
Because
it'll be influenced as it comes out of the bag.
I agree with Lord Tony on that. I think that whenever you're doing divination, in a sense, you've got spiritual presences. I think the runes, and it may sound strange, but I feel like they carry inherent power. But that power, I think, also comes from the history of elders and rune masters who have guided and sculpted and worked with runes for thousands of years. And so when you're working with something like the runes, you're not just working with one rune stone, you're working with a whole lineage, I think, already of spirit people that are invested in the outcome of the runes and their power. So that's my thought on it.
yeah, the question just hit me on the top of the head. So
yeah, I think it's a really good question, because it's like it goes back again to like our earlier question about, are runes already charged by their very inherent nature? So it's interesting, and I really think that when you're dipping into something like the runes, as I said, you're dipping into a whole current of energy, a power source that I think in many ways already has spirit people connected to it. Whether you're aware of it or not. So, Dragon Rising 11 says, I use Nordic runes. Yeah, I'm a big believer in runes. We may have to do a show where we all bring on our rune stones and talk about the different type of rune stones. I think that would be a good show in and of itself. Gavin Hines, where he says, my favorite crystal is lapis lazuli. I absolutely love the stone. It's beautiful blue color, and secondly, it's got to be second stone is selenite, which is angelic. I love that. I think my favorite crystal, gosh, I don't know. That's hard to say. I love amethyst. These days, I'm really more drawn though to, I would say, like Lemurian quartz. That's really where it's at for me. I'm Lemurian quartz. I love so many, but I think if I could only have one crystal, it would be a Lemurian quartz. That's just one that always works for me on every level. What about you, Lord Tone? Do you have a favorite crystal?
I have a lot, but I'd have to say the ones that I use the most though would be, I wouldn't even call it a crystal. It's my moldavite and the shungite. And,
shungite, yeah.
The two of those that I have combined right now, I get the nice high energy feeling that I need to do with, some of the stuff I do here. And then at the same time, I'm still being grounded and not allowed to get too far out of my head.
Yeah, so those stones empower you, yet ground you so that you're empowered and not imbalanced. Is that correct?
Right. And yeah, and I'll even take it off here.
Yeah, if you hold it.
I have my moldavite actually attached. Where's that camera? There it is.
There it is. Okay.
To my shungite pendant. And the energy I get off of this is nuts. So I make sure I keep it under my pillow just so the energy stays.
Lord Tony. There's so many ways to tap into magic. Carol, what is your favorite crystal?
Clear quartz. I like to gaze in crystal balls. So.
Okay. Yeah. Lemurian quartz is a type of clear quartz also. So I think we have similar tastes.
Yeah.
Gav Hines just wrote, he said, Lord Tony, I wear a shungite necklace day and night. Isn't that wonderful? So,
oh yeah. There you go. I have another one that's on me right now too. It has the yin yang symbol on it, but that's the one I never take off. I have that one always up against my skin, so it does its job that way too.
Something's going on here. You're not coming up on the screen.
I still see myself.
Okay, are you talking? Okay, well, it's not showing on my side. So.
Yeah, I can see you. I can see him. I can see myself.
Lord Tony, when you talk, is it coming up full screen for you?
I don't know. I can't see.
Huh, okay. Well, I'm not seeing it, but as long as it's working on your end. Okay, good. Dawn Chances where it said the channel has frozen. So I don't know if we're still being seen out there. Hopefully we'll, it sounds like we're having some technical problems.
Yeah. It's funny. Stardust actually just put on there. I put my Moldavite out in the sun and a crow flew away with it.
Oh, no.
That's what I'm talking about with critters flying away with my stuff.
Oh, no. Well, give it to the Fae. That may have been a Fae working through that, Mina Lori just says, what would be a good crystal for migraines and headaches?
Amethyst.
Okay. Yeah, that's a powerful breakthrough stone,
Yeah. Amethyst works wonders.
Wonderful. All right. Carol, do you have any stone you recommend for migraines and headaches?
No, not really. Not right off the bat. I use clear quartz for everything. Stress, migraines, illness. It's kind of like my go-to stone.
I hear you. Okay, good. One of those healing stones that I'm a big fan of is aquamarine. Aquamarine, I think, really just takes you into a peaceful place, And I'm a big believer that you might want to explore working with aquamarine. It's very soothing stone with a very nice vibration. So, Shadowlander has a question. He says, Yo, Bob, Carol, and Tony, I'd love to work with the ice giants in Norse mythology. Any suggestions on how I cannot be so excited and antsy when attempting to do astral projection? I got to tell you, I don't have experience of working with ice giants. If you're going to deal with those, I think you first want to connect to Lord Thor and ask for him to guide you through that experience. Because from what I know, Thor fought ice giants, and the ice giants of his time were very destructive. So I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing to do. And probably in terms of your astral projection, you want to kind of put yourself into a lower trance where it's strange. You have to raise your vibration yet lower your conscious energy at the same time. And again, I think Lord Tony Stone Shungite is a great energy kind of transforming stone. Lord Tony, you think that Shungite could be used to help with astral projection?
I think it would be more of a grounding stone for him.
But if he's having anxiety, that might lower that, wouldn't it? Enough to...
Yeah, that would definitely help with anxiety. I know rhodonite helps with anxiety really well.
Rhodonite? I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, it's kind of a pinkish, it's like a speckled pinkish black stone. I have it upstairs. If I ever thought about ever bringing it down, I'll bring it down. But
yeah, maybe next week you can bring that. I'd like to say I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, I have it. I have a couple cabochons and then one that's been carved into an angel.
Oh, how lovely! I think that's great. So, G-Dog just recommended chamomile tea. I don't know if that was for migraines or for anxiety, but it'd probably be good for both, I guess. So, oh my gosh, guys, I just looked at the time. Can you believe we're almost at the hour? Lord Tony's got that titanium stuff in his house. I think he's been in time again.
He's sitting right here next to me.
There it is. All right.
That's my Astro Blaster.
There we go. Well, guys, these have been really wonderful questions tonight, and I am so glad that you're here and that you've taken the time to be us. We have such a good time. And before we go, I want Lord Tony and Lady Carol to each give you their websites or any information that they want. So, Lord Tony, why don't you tell us a little bit about your angelic healing work?
Yeah, you can Google me on yeah. I always screw up with this. Just Google Lightbringer's Angel, and you'll find my website through that. Usually comes up pretty quick. But what I do is I work with the angels, and they guide the energies that I'll be sending to you for removing energy blockages, sicknesses, pretty much whatever you need. I haven't figured out yet what I can't do, so I'm hoping somebody would try to stump me at some point, but usually works. Usually works. You got to give it time sometimes. You might have to help it along yourself with some intent and meditation, but just allow it to happen, and usually it would work. But you'll probably find my website in the description below everything here.
Yeah, below this, at the end of this video, you'll see an information box, and I have Lord Tony's link to his website. Definitely check it out. Lord Tony helped me. I came through a very serious tick poisoning the last month, and he did work for me. And I tell you, that's the only reason I'm here. I'm a big believer in his angelic work. So definitely reach out to him. Thank you, Lord Tony. Lady Carol, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're working on? Now, I know you don't have a website yet, but kind of give people some idea what they can look for in the next few months from you.
Well, I've got some plans in the work to maybe, if I'm lucky enough, incorporate some items like charms and things like that people can go and add to, their wands as they purchase them. Kind of like these guys that are on here. And if they choose to, they can purchase little charms and add them onto their wand. So that's something I'm working on right now, along with trying to figure out how to get my website up. But, it's taking a little while longer than planned because of this move. So, just be patient. That's all I can ask. But if you do need to contact me, if you're, you have access, for the prayers. Now, I do still have the prayer altar, and I am writing names in the prayer book for people that need healings or anything like that. So you can contact me through the Order of the Purple Cord, or you can find me through my email, which is thegreencrone@gmail.com.
Wonderful. Yeah, so Lady Carol is working with the sacred staff and prayers to raise power. So definitely check her out as well. And you're on Facebook a lot too, aren't you, Carol? We can find you.
Yes.
Absolutely. And guys, listen, for those of you new here, a lot of you know me, but I am a full-time professional psychic medium. So if you want to get on my schedule for a private reading, I still have a few openings. And in a private reading with me, it's a full hour, one-on-one, you and I. We cover past, present, future issues. We cover spirit guides, who's around you. We look at your life mission, explore your past lives, your karmic links. We also answer any questions that you have. So I cover a lot in the hour, and those of you who have sat with me, I try to give a lot for the money. So if you want to contact me, you can call my office, 571-483-2112. If I'm not there, do leave a message, or you can write to me at my email, which is readings@robert-hickman.com, and visit my website, robert-hickman.com. All those links will be below. Guys, listen, I tell you, we've come to the hour. I don't know where the time goes, guys. I tell you, Tony's working that mojo. It's that titanium mojo.
Yeah, he's sucking it all out.
Yeah.
But we love Lord Tony. And
Yeah.
Lord,
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
I said, so do I.
There you go. Well, guys, listen, thanks for being here. Look us each up. Let us help you. Let us be part of your life. Also, if you're looking to buy magical supplies or spells or spell books, go to Lady Angela's site, rarewiccaspells.com. I'll have the link below. And if you go over there, if you type in, when you're checking out, she has a coupon code. If you type in Spirit Channel, which is the name of my channel, you'll get a 10% off your order. And that's for life. Anytime you order, if you use Spirit Channel, it's not just one time, it's any order you place. So definitely it pays to be part of Spirit Channel. So stop over to Lady Angela's website as well and check out her spell pages, her ritual supplies, altar cloths, you name it, she's got it. So definitely. Well, guys, listen, thanks for being here. Guys, I want you each to say good night to everybody. Lady Carol, we'll start with you.
Good night, everybody. I'm glad you came. See you next Sunday.
All right. Thank you. Lord Tony.
Good night, everybody. It's been a fun show. It's been a learning experience for everyone, I hope. And we'll see you all next week.
Thank you, Lord Tony. Well, guys, thanks for being here. I love you. Sending blessings. Keep it here at Spirit Channel. We got more coming. Tomorrow is, what's tomorrow? Monday. That means it'll
Horoscopes.
be horoscopes. That's right. So be here tomorrow, and we'll be back with you guys. I love you. Send blessings to you, and we'll see you back here next week for another witching hour. Blessed be.